Reliable and predictable. Without super foams, max cushion, carbon plates, or even energy rods, Puma aims to offer up a simple daily trainer that only gives back what you put into it. And that might be exactly what we need. Back to basics with a little bit of a modern twist. Wow. Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. My name is Matt and this is What Matters to Matt. And on today's video, I'm going to give you all my first impression thoughts of the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. Basic, predictable, confident daily trainer with a little bit of a modern twist. That's what we've got to talk about today, and we're going to go through the upper, the midsole, and the outsole, and I'm going to tell you whether this shoe was worth my hard-earned cash. Now, to get the disclosure out of the way, this was not a shoe that Puma sent me for the purpose of review. I bought this with my own money. All my thoughts and my opinions are my own, and Puma is not going to get a chance to see this video before you do here on YouTube. Now, before we get into the specs and how I actually felt about this shoe, I think it's important to point out that this is still very much my first impressions. I think I have a total of 28 kilometers in this shoe. That consisted of an 11-kilometer easy run with some strides at the end of the run. Granted, when I did those strides, I was very tired, it was very hot, it was at the end of the day, and somehow my legs were able to turn over quite quick, which surprised me, especially for a first run in a shoe. The second run that I went on was just an easy recovery run the next morning of about 6 kilometers. Then the other night my son had soccer practice and I took this on a little bit of a trail run to test out that Puma grip because I think this could be a good option for a road to trail shoe. And then finally, yesterday, a run to the gym and back from the gym. Both of those runs very slow, very easy, having already run earlier in the day. And I took those, they were about 3 kilometers apiece. And also, why did I buy this shoe? Where do I think it's going to fit into my rotation? Well, it's going to fit as that daily trainer. And spoiler alert, it fits as that daily trainer. And that's because I'm trying to replace a shoe that I think I am close to retiring. Not because it doesn't have any life left, but because I need more shoes. You always need more shoes. And that is the Saucony, I almost said Triumph. The Saucony Ride 17, and I've got a little bit over 400 miles in this, and we're going to do a long-term review coming up shortly on the channel. But for now, today is all about my first impressions of the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. Very different shoe from the Ride, but a good shoe. It's going to work well as a daily trainer. All right, so let's dive into starting with talking about the upper of this shoe. And first thing I want to say is, keeping with the theme, is that this does feel very traditional. It does feel like what you come to expect from Puma. One of the things that you do come to expect from Puma, however, is that their shoes can run maybe a little bit narrow and a little bit long. That's sort of a common theme with a number of their shoes, and this is no different. Now for me, it does fit true to size, and I get a really nice lockdown, but I have a lower volume foot that might be a little bit on the narrow side, but this is a US men's size 13, and I get exactly a thumb's width at the end of the shoe. Back here around the heel collar, there is a good amount of padding, just what you'd expect from a normal daily trainer. The one concern I had when I saw this shoe and when I first laced it up was the odd shape that they have for the tongue here. If I can get that to focus, it's got a little bit of a weird cutout to it. And what that caused, or what I was thinking that was going to cause, was going to be some sort of a lace bite or pressure at the top of my foot. Didn't have any problems at all, even though I was using the lace lock. Now, speaking of using the lace lock, I don't think I have to do that with this shoe. It just happened to be something that I do. Old habits die hard. Now, I want to say that this upper is very comfortable, but that does come at a little bit of a price, and that price is breathability. Because of the amount of padding that we have back in here in the heel, and because of the gusseted tongue that wraps around the foot, and because it's a little bit snug and a little bit narrow in the midfoot, and because that mesh upper is sort of a dual layered mesh, overall it just doesn't feel that breathable. And when I went out on that first run of this shoe, that 11 kilometers, it was around 30 degrees Celsius, which is pretty darn warm here for the Eastern Canada, and it felt pretty darn warm. Last thing on the upper is that Puma does not list this as a stability shoe, but with their upper they do a pretty good job with providing quite a bit of structure that kind of leans in the direction of a stability shoe. Now, it is very much a neutral shoe, but if you do want something that sort of plants your foot on top of the platform quite well, I think the Puma Velocity Nitro 3 might be a good choice. And that comes in the form of just having quite a bit of structure back here in the heel, And it doesn't cause any irritation, even though this is quite stiff. Your foot, at least my heel, does fit quite nicely down into the heel pocket of the shoe. And also you've got a couple of different overlays between just the symbol over here, the Puma symbol, and on the inside you've got that power tape, that Puma power tape. It really does keep the upper from kind of wanting to collapse in. And if you have any sort of pronation issues, it does kind of hold your foot nicely, solidly on top of the platform. Next, we get to look at the midsole of this shoe, and I probably should have cleaned this off before the review. A little bit of dirt left over from the road to trail run that I did while my son was playing soccer the other night, but they are using a dual density setup here with Puma's Nitro foam in this top layer, and then a thinner layer of just a standard EVA along the bottom to provide a little bit of extra structure. And we're also looking at 36 millimeters in the heel and 26 millimeters in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop. And of course, this is a daily trainer that does not include any sort of a plate. With that amount of foam in this shoe, that puts it squarely in the daily trainer category. If you're looking for something a little bit more on the max cushion side when it comes to a Puma shoe, you might want to check out the Puma Magnify Nitro 2. I'll put a link to that shoe in the description down below. Not an affiliate link, just if you want to go check that out. And sitting right firmly in the middle of that daily trainer category is definitely the best way that I can describe this midsole. It's not overly squishy, it's not overly firm, it's just what you come to expect out of a good daily trainer that's being produced these days. It doesn't give you any extra assistance when you're out there on the run. You do feel some energy return when you pick up the paces, and you do get some rebound from the shoe, but it's not going to help you along too much, and it is pretty protective. Even though this is just a daily trainer, we are still talking about 36 millimeters in the heel and 26 in the forefoot. And with that smaller, thinner layer of EVA on the bottom, you do still have that structure. You do still have a little bit of stiffness up here in the toe box. So overall, the midsole is just a very comfortable, dependable, confident ride when you're out there on the run. And it's able to do a number of different paces, and it's able to give you back exactly what you put into it. No more, no less. Okay, so we can talk a little bit about this outsole, and if you watch any shoe reviews on Puma shoes, you probably know exactly what I'm going to say. The outsole grip on this shoe is really, really good. Somehow Puma has designed a rubber here, and they're able to provide full coverage on the bottom of the shoe, and it doesn't seem to weigh it down. It doesn't seem to make the shoe feel slappy. It just works, regardless of the surface, whether it's wet, whether it's dry, whether it's crushed rock, whether it's pavement, concrete, or you're out there on some light trail, it just works. So obviously with only 28 kilometers on this shoe so far, I can't speak too much to the durability of this shoe in particular, but my Puma grip experience in the past has told me that this is going to last a number of different miles. They don't skimp on the rubber, and the rubber just seems to do exactly what it's supposed to do, is to just go and go and go. By the way, guys, if you're not currently subscribed to my channel and you're getting value out of this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment in the comment section down below what you look for in your daily trainer. So 2 more things to touch on before we get into who I think this shoe is for and whether I think it is worth my hard-earned cash. The first one is the weight. Now, I have a US men's size 13, and my shoe comes in at 330 grams, again, sort of squarely putting it in that daily trainer range. And also the price. I'll try to remember to put the US price up here on the screen somewhere, but here in Canada it comes in at $164.99, and Puma often has sales on their website, and I was able to pick this up for, I believe it was around $90 Canadian, so a steal of a deal on this shoe. I would have probably paid full price for it, but Puma was being generous and gave me a deal. Okay, so who is the Puma Velocity Nitro 3 for? Well, I think there are a couple of different categories to this. One is if you're new to running, or you're somebody who's coming back to running after not running for a while, and you're looking for a shoe that can do a number of different things, from easy runs, recovery runs, picking up the pace if you want to do some workouts, and even the occasional long runs, and of course those daily miles. I think the Puma Velocity Nitro 3 is not going to get in your way. It's going to be very comfortable, and it's going to feel very familiar and very traditional. It doesn't have a lot of fancy tech in it, but it gets the job done. I also think there's this second category of people who have a shoe rotation. Somebody like me who has a number of different shoes for a number of different purposes. It's really refreshing sometimes to get a shoe that is still very protective, but doesn't feel overly high stacked. It's not one of these high stacked shoes. It doesn't have any extra assistance in there with plates or rods or any of that fancy stuff. No, it's not a super foam. Maybe it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but there is something refreshing to having a shoe in your rotation to log some of those daily miles that just, again, gets the job done. So I think it's pretty obvious at this point, but to answer the question, do I think the Puma Velocity Nitro 3 has been worth my hard-earned cash? Absolutely. Even though I did get a discount on this shoe, if they hadn't given me that discount, I probably would have paid full price for it and still felt the same way. My name is Matt. This has been What Matters to Matt, and ultimately, what matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be